Greetings, explorers. With Halloween just around the corner, and our Strange Wilderness Halloween special coming even sooner, Ginge and I thought that it would be fun to bring you a week of horror leading up to the big day of our special. Over the next 6 days, you'll be treated to 4 short, scary stories, originally featured on our TikTok, Strange Wilderness Pod. So, turn off the lights, sit back, and enjoy our descent into the dark and scary.
Pumawha, written by SkierBoy07. Wildland firefighter with the Forest Service. Not my story, but from an old supervisor of mine that I believe completely. The setting is 2004 or so, Hell's Canyon area of Middle Idaho. His crew had been working all day on an emerging incident and were going to be working through the night as well. Being the assistant superintendent of the crew, second in charge effectively, he was out ahead scouting on an ATV or some such. He was working his way down a logging road that clearly had not been used in some time when a bobcat or lynx, it's been a few years since I heard it, appears in the middle of the road but doesn't run away as they usually would. The thing stands there for a good 10 seconds, screams at him, and scampers up a tree not 5 feet off the road. He finds this odd but not particularly unsettling. Just a half a mile or so down the road, he finds a small cabin, also odd as this is federal land and no private structure should be there. Upon investigation, all the windows had been boarded shut tight and someone had done a good job of doing so. The doorknob had been punched out and secured to a hole drilled into the log frame by a chain. Someone did not want anything getting in or out. This has him kind of unsettled, so he hops on his ATV and heads back up the road. Well, here's where it gets real interesting. Right where the bobcat had been, there stands a Native American woman in a badly tattered nightgown and bare feet, just standing there. He yells at her, asking if she needs help. She just screamed at him, the same scream as the cat from before, and climbs right up the tree faster than any human has a right to be climbing. Obviously, he nopes out of there as fast as he can. Unsure of who or what he just saw, he asks a local guy about the cabin. After asking around a little, a local Native American hears them talking and informs them that they saw a Pumawha, more like a skin changer or a warg. Now, I would not have believed most people that tried to tell me that, but this was a serious man that did not heck around about many things. He was dead serious the 2 times I've heard him talk about it.
Next time, you'll know better. By IPostAtMidnight. Have you ever walked into a room and found a vampire? No, not the sexy kind, but a foul creature with bony limbs and ashen skin. The kind that snarls as you enter, like a beast about to pounce. The kind that roots you to the spot with its sunken, hypnotic eyes, rendering you unable to flee as you watch the hideous thing uncoil from the shadows. Has your heart started racing, though your legs refuse to? Have you felt time slow as the creature crosses the room in the darkness of a blink? Have you shuddered with fear when it places one clawed hand atop your head and another under your chin so it can tilt you, exposing your neck? Have you squirmed as its rough, dry tongue slides down your cheek, over your jaw, to your throat, in a slithering search that's seeking your artery? Have you felt its hot breath release in a hiss against your skin when it probes your pulse? the flow that leads to your brain. Has its tongue rested there, throbbing slightly as if savoring the moment? Have you then experienced a sinking, sucking blackness as you discover that not all vampires feed on blood? Some feed on memories. Well, have you? Maybe not. But let me rephrase the question. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you came in?
Warrior of God by KMAPock. If God exists, why is there so much evil in the world? It's a common question, but it is misplaced. All things must have balance, light and dark, good and evil, sound and silence. Without one, the other cannot exist. So if that's true, then God does nothing to fight evil. That might be your follow-up question. Of course he fights evil, relentlessly. I am D'Artagnan, one of his most holy and righteous angels. I roam the earth, disposing of evil wherever I find it. I kill the monsters you don't ever want to know about. I crush them completely so you can sleep at night. You humans have no idea how many of you live because of the work I do. But what about Stalin, Hitler, Ted Bundy, Jack the Ripper? Well, those are the minor ones I had to let live, for balance. The ones I destroy are too horrible and vile to survive. What's funny is, while I would wager you've never heard the name D'Artagnan in any religious text, I bet you have heard of me. Americans, for example, have their own name for me. Sudden infant death syndrome.
Hands by Minboy. The doctor pulled the stethoscope ear tips out and hung the device around his neck.
Mr. Weatherby, all of your tests have come back negative, and my examination shows nothing abnormal.
Adam knew what was coming next. I'm not crazy, doctor.
I'm sorry, but there is no physical reason for why you occasionally lose control of your hands. A psychologist can help.
I don't need therapy. I need answers. They seem to have a life all of their own. I can't hold a job. I'm under investigation for assault. I almost killed my neighbor. This can't go on. I'll try anything at this point. After 2 weeks on a new medication, Adam saw no progress and grew increasingly depressed. He was convinced that despite what the doctor said, it was not a psychological problem. That night, a frustrated and angry Adam sat in a chair and drank bourbon. Drunk and hopeless, he stumbled to the garage and started the table saw, then slowly lowered his wrists toward the screaming blade. Detective Armstrong entered the garage where several uniformed officers stood over the blood-soaked bodies.
So what do we got?
He asked, taking in the blood-spattered scene. This is a weird one, Detective.
How so?
Take a look at the body. He apparently chopped off his hands with the table saw and bled to death. Armstrong knelt down.
And
we can't find his hands anywhere. Away from civilization, things get strange and unsettling. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok to get the full, immersive, Strange Wilderness experience. Links to everything will be provided in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and stay safe. Because as you know, it can get wild out there.